Hi friends and welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing you my Flosstube update. This is for the end of February and the beginning of March. So I had a couple of goals that I set out for the last 3 weeks and I didn't quite achieve all of them, but that's because I got distracted by something new and shiny that I'll be talking about at the end of this video. But straight off the bat, we're just going to go into my Flosstube update. So if you want to see my progress for the month of March, then let's get right on into it. Starting with, shall we start? We're going to start with Stag Head. This is, oh no, I've forgotten the name. So I have all of my information on screen, so if you want to know any of the information about any of these projects, just pause when the card comes up and you will be able to see. I think this was by Light Unicorn Designs on Etsy, but I can't remember completely. This was a new start last month, and I'm not going to do a before and after picture because my new start was like 5 stitches, so there's no point doing a before and after. I'm doing this on 18 count River Hut Designs Ada, and I'm gonna move some of these hanging threads because I should have really stitched that in, but it's fine. Most of these are in Q snaps or hoops. I'm not going to take them out because I don't need to at this precise moment, and they're in a position that I like them. So this is Stag Head. I got 605 stitches on this. I don't have my percentage written down, but that will have been on screen with all the information about this. I am really enjoying this. You can already see the stag head coming in, which feels really nice. I didn't realize like this has got quite a bit of confetti. Like it's got low amount of colors. I think it has 20 to 25 colors, but the colors are really like spaced out into like dribs and drabs as we get into the antlers. I noticed that there's a lot of confetti in them, but I'm vibing with this so far. If you don't know, this is a piece that I'm doing for my great aunt. She loves stag heads, and I would like to get this done for December for her Christmas. So I figured out that if I want this done for Christmas, then I need to do 1,500 stitches a month, which is a lot. But I think I can do it. Like I think it's doable. I just need to make sure that I make it a priority because if I want it done, and if I done No by Stitch Rovia for my grandma last year, and I had issues with the original start, so I had to restart it halfway through the year, and then for like 3 months I stitched on that. Like most of my stitching time went onto that project, whereas I would like to space this one out a little bit more so that I'm not stitching on it for like months at a time and I can't touch any of my other projects. So my long-standing goal for this one is going to be 1,500 stitches a month. This is going to stay the same all the way through the year, so this will always be in my rotation just so I can try and get it done for December, hopefully. And hopefully at the end of the year I will be able to show you this as a fully finished object ready to gift. Next we have here No Time Like the Present. This is the 2024 Modern Folk Embroidery Sal, and my tentative goals on this were to get 1,000 stitches a month. This does not keep me up to date with the stitch along, but that's fine. 1,000 stitches a month means I get decent progress without falling too far behind. So here we have it. I managed to get 1,030 stitches for a total of 2,784 stitches and 7.82%. And this will be the before and after. I really love this project. This project is just a dream to stitch on. I love the colors I chose. I love the fabric that I chose. Everything is just working in my favor with this one. And I'm loving that I'm really starting to see the flowers come in now that I'm moving towards the center. I'm not following um the sal has like parts, so it's divided by like rows. I'm not following that. I'm just following where my needle takes me and trying to get 1,000 stitches into this a month. So again, this will probably be, I think that I'm starting to settle on a bit more of a rotation now because I want to get Stag Head finished by December. So this is going to be in my rotation all year for 1,500 stitches a month. And then I want to not fall too far. I can't talk today. I apologize. I want to not fall too far behind on this so that potentially I can have this finished by next year. So 1,000 stitches on this keeps me up to date enough for it to have like seeable progress. The next one we have here is Nightmare on Elm Street versus Stranger Things, and this is by Tilton Crafts. I managed to get 776 stitches on this for a total of 3,543 and a 2.89% completion rate. And I'm loving this. I will put a before and after on screen. I was originally working this in columns. I have now since switched over to diagonals, and I love this. Like, I love stitching on this. When I pick it up, I manage to get loads of stitches in really quickly. 700 stitches in 3 days. So I'm pretty impressed with that. My goal for this is to have the page finished by the end of the year. So I think I'm on track. I'm definitely on track to have the page finished for the end of the year. And because I have that as a goal, I need to do this monthly, and I can't remember my numbers monthly, but what I am thinking is for my rotation, like my stag head and my present have number goals, and I'm thinking that if I can get 7,000 stitches in 3 days, I wish. If I could get 700 stitches in this in 3 days, I think giving this a 5 day rotation every month would give me enough to get the page finished for the end of the year. So I'm working on the assumption that my rotation will be, some will be days and some will be stitch counts. So I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is the whip portion. If you don't know, I chapter my videos to be new starts, whips, acquisitions if I have any plans. But this video is going to be a little bit different because I'm also going to start adding in crocheting, because you probably know from the title or the thumbnail. So we'll get into my rotation and my plans after I show you my last project, and I will explain probably in a bit less of chaotic detail what my plans are. But this is Firefly by Amy Stewart. This is the mini, and I'm starting to have regrets that I chose the mini for this because I'm starting to worry that the detail's not going to be what I want it to be. But we're going to work because this is my first ever full coverage that I started. So this is how we're looking. I got 359 stitches in this for a total of 9,635. I'm at 13.59%, and I will put a before and after on screen. I do have more. I had to move the Q-snap, and I do have more above the Q-snap, but I'm not going to take this out every time to show you the full effect because I feel like having these just as like what you see on the Q-snap, you can see the progress better. And then every now and then for whip parades, and maybe if I move the Q-snap, I can take a picture and show you the full thing. This is an interesting one because I do enjoy working on this, but I started it as Royal Rose. The back got way too thick for me to continue, So I've now started, I filled in all of my hanging threads apart from these ones. And I've started doing, I pick the first instance of a symbol here and I work it along, and I then come back and do the same. If it does trickle down here, I will just fill it in so that I'm not like wasting thread that's on my needle. I don't think I'm going to go past much of the page. I will trickle some down and some to the side to avoid page lines. This is another one that has the goal for a page finish for the end of the year. So let's get right on into plans, because I feel like I've just spewed a lot of information at you that probably doesn't make sense as I've went along, and I'm starting to figure out a rotation that is going to work to see me complete my goals and to also, you know, have some sort of structure. So we'll start with numbered goals. Stag head is going to be on my list every month for 1500 stitches. This is unmovable. This is a gift that I would like to get done before the end of the year. So that is one that's set in stone. No time like the present is again a numbered goal. This is going to be 1,000 stitches a month, and I'm going to give myself the leeway to say that this is 1,000 stitches a month, but as long as I have 12,000 stitches at the end of the year, then I'm on track. So if I do 1 month where I get 2,000 stitches, I can then like leave this for a month and bring in a new project. Just 1,200 stitches by the end of the year, ideally 1,000 stitches a month, but if not, then I can swap out to other projects if I do more. Then we have Stranger Things versus Freddy. This is the goal of a page finish by the end of the year, and I'm gonna go with 5 days a month on this. 5 full stitching days a month, which even if I get 100 stitches every day for 5 days, that still leaves me on track to get the page finish for the end of the year. Then we have Firefly, which it's so interesting because on Freddy at this precise moment, I can get 700 stitches in 3 days. Whereas with this, I was only getting like 300 to 400 stitches in 3 days. So I think I need more time on this. I think I'm going to give this a 7 day rotation a month. And hopefully, even if I get 700, even if I get 100 stitches again a month, then I will be still on track to finish the page. I also think that this gives me enough time to be able to swap in other projects. So, for example, if we say the start of April, the first 5 days of April I spend on Freddy, then I swap it out for Present, get my 1,000 stitches on that, swap it out for Stag Head, get my 1,500 stitches on that, swap it out for Firefly, do 7 days on that, and then whatever's left at the end of the month, I can free stitch on whatever I feel like it. This is the basis that I'm going off of. This is my rotation, and I will just be rotating my other projects through my blank spaces after I have met my goals. So you will be seeing the like a lot of the same projects for the majority of the year, but you'll be seeing a lot of progress on these projects. And there will also be other projects and new starts and things like that weaved in. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that this makes sense. And I'm going to get right on into crocheting because I seen this blanket. I will leave a video on screen or a picture on screen. This cozy daisy blanket, and I loved it. I seen it and I was like, I need this in my life. I just fell in love, and I've never tried crochet before, so I had no idea what I was doing. So I ordered things. Now, as a new person entering into the world of crochet, I had no idea what I was doing. So when the pattern called for bulky yarn, I assumed bulky yarn meant super chunky, right? Like super chunky yarn. I did not know that there is different there's different weights of yarn, but also they can be classed differently depending where you live. So someone in the US says, you know, bulky 5 yarn. I don't necessarily think it means UK bulky, super chunky yarn. So I started with this with an 8mm hook, which is what the pattern called for. And I ended up with this. Now, there was trial and error. There's a lot of trial and error in this. Um, I done, I think, 4 or 5 of these. I used a whole set of my yarn balls to just, you know, learn how to do this while also figuring out if I liked it. And I've decided that I don't like the super bulky yarn because it leaves like, I don't know if it's because I'm a new crocheter, but it has like this wispies that just are everywhere. So it's got like this really staticky feeling to the thread. Maybe I was pulling the thread too much. I did change from an 8 hook to a 10 hook to see if that made any difference, and I just decided that I didn't like the super chunky yarn for this look. So I now have extra super chunky yarn that I will use for something else because I fell down a crocheting rabbit hole, um and I'm lost. I'm lost. So we put that to the side because I'm not using that. I then decided to try it in chunky. Now have I have this, which has now become my crochet bag. I don't do anything by half measures. When I find something I like and I find something that I want to try, I go all in. So a lot of my stitching time has been taken up by crocheting. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. So I went onto Amazon because this is going to sound so bad because I have so much haul. So I went onto Amazon. After the super chunky yarn didn't work, which I bought from Lovecrafts, I thought I don't want to do another Lovecraft order just in case I don't like the yarn. I need to understand yarn better. So I went on to Amazon and I bought loads. I bought loads of things. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. And I bought more yarn. So I wanted to get like a good mix of things so that I could see for myself in person. So I got this 4-ply yarn and this double knitting yarn, and then ooh, this chunky yarn here, which you can tell is very similar colors to my super chunky yarn. The blue teal color is a little bit darker than I wanted it to be, but I'm not being picky at this point considering I now have 9 balls of yarn for this one project. 3 of them are not going to be used because I've decided against them. So I wanted to get like a good mix of things to see what I was going with. I have since decided that I like the super chunky, no, I like the chunky yarn for this project. So I continued to make a square with the chunky yarn. Now I still have like little flays, like little staticky bits on this, but I have since blocked my first granny square, and it does take away some of this fraying when I block it, which I'm fine with. So this is my like this is technically my second fully complete granny square. Now I don't know if I'm going to need more of these than the pattern calls for because I'm potentially using a thinner yarn. So the pattern calls for 42. I might need to add another row on. I'm totally fine with that because I just prefer the look of this. So I am I am now making potentially another 40 of these granny squares. So every time I come in and talk about crocheting, I will update you on how many granny squares I have completed and how many I have left. I'm potentially actually going to make a short of my journey making this blanket. Um, so yeah, that is that was the gateway. That was the gateway to crocheting because I then found Erin B, and she has this lovely Valentine's Day sweater that she made, and I'm obsessed. So I bought these two colors because I don't want to do it with mohair because mohair's itchy. So I thought, a 4-ply and a double knit would work fantastic. But then I started actually looking at the raglan sweater pattern and realizing that I'm not quite advanced enough to make that yet. So these are going to be put on hold until I decide if I want to try that later on down the line. Okay, so where are we? So this would have been enough. This would have been a less chaotic version of who I am. But I am chaotic and decided that, one granny daisy cute blanket wasn't enough. I wanted another kind of blanket. So I bought yarn and I intend to make a book blanket. So I will have more information on this. I may do a short playlist for this. I may do a whole video like based on this experience, but let me know if you would like that in the comments. But essentially, I will have granny squares. And I'm going to choose 3 different types of granny squares. I'm going to go with this one here. There's one with a moon, and then there's one with a star. And these will be repeating, but I don't know if this is going to make any sense. I may, as I said, I will go into more detail as I advance this idea. So, for example, the first row is going to be this kind of granny square. And this is going to be all of the books that I read in January. Then, when it turns to February, all of the moon granny squares will be February. Then, all the March granny squares will be no, the star. And then we'll rotate back to these ones for April. So, it will rotate out. Then we're gonna have a three layered granny square for each book. So the middle part is gonna be shades of, I think I said shades of purple, and each shade is going to correlate to the length of the book. So if I say that lilac is my 200-page book, then the middle will be lilac. Then the outer petals will be the rating I gave the book, which is going to be in shades of pink. So if hot pink is a 4-star, this will be hot pink. And then the outer ring is going to be my genre. I have 4 top genres. So I have fantasy, horror, romance, and thriller, which is mostly of what I read. So I have 4 colors of blue/green to go for the outer layer. Now, I'm going to buy a variegated yarn. And if the variegated yarn goes in the middle, it means I've read a book over 500 pages. If it goes in the center, then it means that it is an all-time favorite read. It's 5 stars, brilliant, favorite of the year. And if it goes in the outer layer, it means that I have read outside my usual genres. I hope all of this makes sense. I will probably have more updates on this blanket, this idea. I might actually make a separate video for this, just to explain myself better. Let me know if you would prefer me to, give small updates of my crocheting in my floss tubes, but maybe like if I'm taking on a big project like this book blanket, make a separate video so you can click on that if you like. This is a fleshling idea. I did order my yarn because I got a deal and I can't say no to a deal apparently. So I have ordered most of my yarn. I think I need to track down my variegated yarn and a separate pink and purple hues so they're not all too similar. So I can I can look and see the difference. But yeah, I have opened a rabbit hole. I also want to make this bralette top thing. I want to make that Valentine's raglan sweater. Like, I have seen so much and I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble because I discovered that I wanted to do this blanket and now I have yarn. I have a lot of yarn. I think I have 13 balls of yarn coming in the mail, and I think I have 11 that I've bought since well, no more, 14 that I've bought in the last 2 weeks since I discovered I wanted to make this blanket. I don't do anything by halves. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Right, so I'm going to put this away now so that I don't make a mess. And yes, so I think overall I am in a pretty good crafting place. I am going to try and stick to my stitching goals for the month. I'm going to try and make progress on my daisy blanket. And then when my yarn comes and I set up the idea for my book blanket, I will figure out if I want to. I'll probably include crochet updates in my floss tubes, but they'll be a little bit, more to the point. And if I want to explain any further on any of the projects that I'm doing for that, I may take out, a video here and there on what I'm doing. But my floss tubes are going to stay mostly cross stitch because that is what I spend most of my time doing. And I don't want to start crocheting and take away all of, the time and fun that I have with cross stitch. I just want to integrate it a little bit so that I can do both. And now I've realized that my hobbies have went from, reading all the books, stitching all the things, and now crocheting all the things. And I also work and have a semi-social life, because anxiety doesn't lend to being very social. I say that, but I have Comic-Con this weekend. I mean, it's just pure chaos. Like, most of my hobbies are solitary hobbies. They're things that I enjoy doing in my spare downtime. They're things that I do instead of like meditation or, these are the things that recharge my soul and make me very happy. And I'm so grateful and lucky that I have the opportunity to be able to do these things, the time to be able to do these things, and also for you who, lets me just chat a load of shit about all the things that I love and are along for the journey. Like, I'm incredibly lucky, and I just want to say thank you so very much for watching. And if you would like to stick around and follow my crafting, reading journey, and all the chaos, then it is a joy to have you. So I think that's all I have for you today. Please stick around for more, and I hope you have a great day, great week, great weekend, whenever the hell you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Pick it up from the top, hit restart. So far it's been